Okay. So one of the main differences between ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core is ASP.NET Core is code first, which means we write the code first before we write the database. Do you follow? And in classical ASP.NET, we create the database first before we write the code. Okay? There's a way to do a code data first, but this it's very complicated. Do you follow? No, medyo complicated. Now, even in Django is and Laravel are both code first. Although there's a way to do data first, no? But usually it's not recommended to do data first. So, which means we are not going to create our database here. Okay? Do you follow? So, nandito na ngayon. How do we create? Now, look at that. How do we create our database? We do it with migrations. Now, migrations are stored in the data folder with migrations. There's an initial migration. Ito. Okay. These are tables which need to be created. So, it will create a table called ASP.NET roles, and then with the following, with the primary key, and then it will create a database table called net users, with the following columns, and then, and so on and so forth. There are tables that need to be created. Okay. So, a migration is actually a way to synchronize your code to your database. Do you follow? So, if your code is not in sync with your database, you will have to apply the migration. So, in Django, you have add migration and apply migration. So, ang gagawin yan is, i-determine niya based on your code, what's the difference between, during add migration, the platform will determine whether the difference between your code and your database. Okay? Whatever the difference, when you apply the migration, the difference is applied to the database. Okay? How do we do that? Now, usually, you will have you will open a new window, other windows called package manager. Merong package manager even in Visual Studio Code, no? Okay? No? The first thing to do is to apply, because there's already a pending migration, no? Do you follow? Do you follow? What's the pending migration? We have these tables, no? So we'll say update capital, no? Siya mag-adjust yata siya, update database. You will know that there's a pending migration because it's here, no? Okay. And the snapshot of your DB, wala pang laman. Okay. So we say update database and we press enter. Okay. You have to wait for a while. What it will do is it will apply, no, the difference between your code and your migration. The code in your model. So it's not it must take a while, no? Usually there's no error here as long as you have the right, no? So it's done. So now, what do we mean by done? Okay? Let's look at our database. Let's refresh this, no? Refresh. And now we have a books DB. Do you follow? Which means it created the database for us. What are the tables, no? We now have the tables for the users. For example, ASP.NET users. We will edit the first, edit top 100 rows. Oh, wala. This is a blank set of users, no? Wala pa tayong user. Okay? Do you follow? And then, the user roles are also blank because this time, in ASP.NET, we only have two roles, admin and plain user, di ba? Dito, we can have a lot of roles. We can have manager, we can have administrator, supervisor, we can have bookkeeper, we can have encoder, and so on and so forth, no? Pwede natin, we will go to role management, no, in one of these days. Now, there's another video series by Codvin Cat, no, on ASP.NET Core, and it's based on Visual Studio 2012. There's about 120 sessions, no? I have finished about 80 of them already. Now, the first few, ang kailangan mo lang tapusin doon is 50. The first 50, pwede ka nang mag-program, no? Yung kay Codvin Cat din sa ASP.NET niya na series, 170. I have finished about 80 also, no? So, ang curve lang is in the first 50. Pag matapos mo na yung first 50 sessions, you will have the confidence to create the project. Okay? Okay? Do you follow? Now we have a database. Now let's look at our code. Let's run this. Can we now register ourselves? Let's run this, no? Okay. Before we run this, no? Let's look for the login code. Okay. Where do we look for the login view? Wala, no? Let me look at what do we need to add. We need to add packages, no? Add NuGet packages to the solution. I think, is that NuGet packages? No, hindi. No. We have to add I forgot the no. Let me look at my guide. Save this. Wala no? We need to look at, we have to need identity. No? Let me just Google that. Limutan ko na. Scaffold. Add a new scaffolded item. That's what it is, no? Okay? That's how to add, no? We have add new scaffolded item. Because a scaffold is actually an existing view, no? Which you can get from, from, no, wala dito, no? No, hindi dito, no? Identity. Dito eh. Kalimutan ko, let me look at that. Let me look at the, na lang. The previous video, no? Adding required. Kaya ito. I'm sorry, I forgot. I really forgot, no? Kalimutan ko na yan. I did not take note of the code. It's supposed to be easy. Ito. How did you? Click on create. In this case, I have not selected an authentication method. Let me just look at that now. Nalimutan ko na. That's what I was looking. But then, right click on this project, then add, then click on new scaffolded item, then select this identity here. Okay. That's right. Sa identity tayo magtingin, no? We'll add new scaffolded item, identity, and then we'll click this identity. Do you follow? I'll put this in in our regular site. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot. No, there's so many details. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to add. We can add the login, the logout. If you forgot the password, a very important part here is the register and manage. Okay. Manage index, no, for the user to manage his account, no. If you can have change password, you like to have the code for change password. Okay. Two-factor authentication. Yeah, you know this, no? Yung magsasend sa web, sa email or in text, no? Usually email. Okay, manage layout. Okay. Reset password maybe. Set password, no? Okay. Huwag na muna lockout, no? And then we have to choose the context, no? So we just click this, no? We already have an existing context. I'll show you that, no? And then you don't have to add this. He will add the user class himself. Unlike in the no. application DB context books data. Let's look at that no later no. Okay. Where's the application DB context? That stores the actual database, the list of tables you have in your database. Okay. Excluding, no? Of course, excluding the .NET tables. No? Okay, so it's there. So if you look at the models, okay, uh, okay, views, no? Where is that placed? Areas, identity, no? So nandito sa areas, identities, pages, account. Okay, nandito yung login HTML. Okay, do you follow? So there's the login, ano? The login, there's the logout, and then there's the register. Okay, now ito yung registration. Do you follow? Let's run that anyway. Let's save the project first. Okay. So nandito na. So ito yung register. That's the register. That's the login. Do you follow? Okay. So these are the HTML codes, no? Okay, which you have. It's given to you. Na, ang iba, marami, most of them have already have bootstrap classes, no? Decorated na. Do you follow? So for example, we will change our, ano, let us change the something in our, ano, in our web page, no? In our login page. This is the login page. Okay. So use a local account, a local user account. Local account lang nakalagay, no? Now if you save this and run, okay. Okay. Anyway, it's here, no? Ito, login. Use a local user account na. Do you follow? Okay. Now first, let's register. Let me register. So let's say an email. Email format ng user, no? So now, password policy. Let's register. When you register, you right away uh, logged in. So you can now log out. No? So nag-iba yung menu dito. And then we say login. We say r at r.com. So ang dali na. It's much easier because they're already predefined pages. You don't have to recreate the pages yourself. So ito nagbago siya. Okay? So first, before we look at the code, no, let's look at the database. Now, the moment you register, no, nandito ngayon sa ASP.NET users, no, we open. So now we have r at r.com as the username. Okay, the normalized name is suggested to capital. Now, the username and the email are usually the same. Okay, and then we have the password. The good thing about the password is this is hashed, no, 256MD5, MD, no. So hashed siya ngayon, so you cannot figure it out. So unlike before, no, we did not encrypt our password, so anybody who has access to the database can configure the password. Although we can create, there's a function, no, in SQL Server to encrypt passwords before you are going to save them. Okay? So nandyan. Okay? So dito nalagay ngayon yung ano. Now let's look at the code. Let's look at the code of uh, the layout, no? The main layout which is in the shared folder. Okay? So nandito sa layout.html. If you dito login partial is only displayed, no? Okay? login partial is only displayed for logged in users. Let's look at the code for login partial. Ito. Sa login partial, there's an injected C# code. If sign in manager, there's a mod, there's an entity part, no, of identity, no. Okay. When we say inject, this is like using, no. The main difference is uh, sign in manager already contains, no, uh, codes for access to the database, no. Ito kasing using, these are just standard codes, no. So sign in, if sign in manager is signed in user, if the user is signed in, what will happen is we will have an account manage, we will have a manage, no. We can have log out, no, and we can have log in, manage, no, and then we will otherwise, no. If the user is not logged in, he will only have identity, he will only have register and login, itong dalawa. Okay, let's run that again. We follow. So take note, no, the initial stage is in layout cs.html, and the logged in users will log in login partial. So naka-log out tayo dati, no. R R P4. Okay. Will this manage? Ito. So, this actually, the hello button will also manage your account. Okay? You can change your password. This is the manage account. You can change your profile. Okay, you can have your personal data. I think you can have a, wala pa siyang ano, no, upload picture. They follow. Now, if you will ask, where is this page placed? No? They follow? Okay? Let's look at the controller. Okay? Kasi dito sa controller, hindi siya nakalagay, but in the views, no, rather in the layout, no, doon siya nakalagay ang ano. Let's look at the URL. Okay, ito login partial, no. Okay, so no, this is the nav link for the identity. Instead of manage, the text is hello plus the user identity name. The title is manage, and the URL, the ASP page is account manage index. So let's look for that in the identity page. Kasi the ASP area is a folder under areas. Do you follow? ASP area is a folder under areas. So ASP area identity is under this, and then ASP page is a folder under pages, no, of identity. So we have account and manage. And then manage, we have index. Ito, si index. So ito yung si index, okay? They follow it. It has a label, username, no, and so on and so forth. So we don't have a design view. So to really run, we have to look at that. No, we really have to run. Okay? I think we're still logged in. Login pa tayo sa ito, no? Okay? Kasi hindi tayo nag-log out the last time. So this is the page. Okay? So you can edit this. You can add entities, no? Pwede mo idadagdag. Take note that this appears on the render part. There's also a render section, by the way, in the layout.html. So, nandito sa layout.html, CSHTML, no? Nandito yung render body. Okay, this is where the views, this is where the views are rendered. Okay? So meron ka ring render section if you'd like, no? Do you follow? Okay, you can render a body and you can render a section. So any questions so far? Now let's create a CRUDs. Okay? Let's create a CRUDs. Okay? Let's create a CRUDs. Which means let's create, retrieve, update, delete, search. The search will follow later. No, there's also a built-in. To be able to create a CRUDs, first you have to define the model. Okay? So to define the model, you'll have to create a class in the models view. Okay? We'll go to the models view and then we right click and then we create add new item. Okay. We'll just create a new class, no? Class, no? And we'll name this class authors. Okay? So ito yung class ng authors. Okay? Do you follow? First, this is the let me open my previous nalimutan ko yung syntax niyan. Okay. If I have the correct kasi may ilalagay eh. I have this class already. No? Tama ba? Yes, tama lang siya. Let me just copy this. Okay. Okay. A model is actually a representation, di ba? AR diagram, an entity model. A model is an entity model. Okay? It's an entity model. So which means that authors is an entity. Do you follow? Do you follow? So what did we have for authors before? First, we have an ID. Usually in MVC, the key is the ID is used as the, okay? Dito, ID is used as the field name. Do you follow? Okay? Ganun lang. We have an ID. And we identify it as the primary key. Okay? So you just attach a decorator. This is called a decorator, no? Anything in square brackets is called a decorator, which means we are decorating ID to be a key, which means this is going to be a primary key and at the same time it's going to be in entity seed, no? So mag-incrementing ito. Do you follow? Do you follow? And then we will have author, last name, no? Okay. Last name author. We can have a max length decorator. So we'll say max length decorator. Okay. So we'll say 50. And we have a decorator called required. No? Which means this is not null. Do you follow? Okay. And then to make a long story short, let me add the others. No? First name hanggang specialization. Okay. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Our field name is last name author. Do you follow? But, tanggalin muna natin ito. We'll just remark the display name first. Okay? First, the display name, tanggalin muna natin. And then the required. Now, if you have a problem like this, no, may squiggly, no, what you'll do is just hover over the, over the squiggly and then show potential fixes. Okay? So, you need to do using data annotations. So, you just double click this. Nawala na siya. What's the first? Walang suggestion anyway. This is just a name. I think this will be gone, no? When we Okay. Do you follow? Okay. Let me open my other project. We have the same squiggly errors. Para sigurado tayo kung anong kulang. may kulang na ano. So may kulang dito, no? Let's just copy this. Component model yata ang kulang. Ano, wala na anyway, no? So, yeah. We'll add a component model. Yan ko lang, okay? So, nawala na siya anyway, I just saved it. Oh, no, nandyan. Bakit nandyan? Anyway, no? Anyway, we'll just continue, no? Find out what's wrong later, no? I think this will be fixed when we migrate. So, then the next thing to do is find the DB context, no? So, nandito tayo, meron tayong DB context, no? What we'll do is add this to our DB context, okay? Let me just copy that. My other, ano? I have a code, no? Let me get the syntax, no? So, nandito, no? You will have an application DB context, no? Under data. So, you will have to add this, okay? Public dataset authors. Okay, sige lang, kung magka-error, we'll just fix. You add this to your public DB context. So, wala pa tayo, no? So, data, under data, we have application DB context. We'll have to add the authors dataset, which means we are going to add a dataset called author. So, may error talaga tayo. So, what we'll do is, we'll just show potential fixes. So, what will we do? Models. Okay, wala na siya, no? Models author, or, yeah. We could have just uses. Bakit hindi nasali yung ano? Anyway, models.authors. Authors ang pangalan. So, nandito siya sa models. No? Okay? Now, anyway, what happens is the author's model already in our database? No, we have to add a migration. No? We have we go to the package manager console. We say add dash migration. Okay. It will ask for a name. We'll usually give it a name. No? One, authors table. Okay, press enter. Field bucket. May kulang siyang build. Okay, most probably may mali sa aking sa aking authors, no. Ito may squiggly. Okay. Let me just copy this, no. Let's delete this. Delete this. Let's delete this, ano. Mali yata yung pagka-create ko ng model. Let me look at that one. I'm still new to this, so I'm still sulat ko na lang. So anyway, I think it's already there. Let's remove this, no. Exclude from project. And then our application DB context. We'll remove this. Okay. Okay. And then we have to erase the files. So what we'll do is we go here and then open. Tatanggalin natin yung model na ano, na authors, no? Maybe I made the wrong step. Mali yung aking ano. Let's do that. Razor page pala. Actually, something wrong with my ano, authors class. Dapat merong ganito. Okay. So how do you do that? Right click the movie project models and right click models, add class. That's just a way to do it. No, I think it's just a class. Authors. Meron ba tayong data migrations? Wala pa tayong data migration, no? Isa pa lang. And then we should have this in our data model. Okay. Okay, we'll save for a moment, okay? And then we'll be back. Kasi ano na. Please be back. Now we'll have a last session. We'll have no meeting tomorrow, so we'll have a last session today.